Welcome to part 2 of our fun little investigation into the background of some of the names behind Genshin Impact's characters. If you haven't seen part 1, you can check out the link for it in the description, which I highly recommend. Otherwise, we'll hop right into our next noteworthy name. Haftvad the Worm. This next one was part of what got me started checking out pretty much every name I've come across since playing to find the secrets hidden by the writers. Haftvad the Worm kind of sounds like just a gnarly name for a giant ruin machine, but it actually has an entire backstory. It comes from a Persian legend about a man named Haftvad whose daughter found a mysterious worm who could magically ensure their prosperity from the moment they discover it. Haftvad's family therefore grow in wealth and status because of their secret worm. Soon, Haftvad acquires an army and arrogantly challenges all who would oppose him because he knows he can't lose. Then, when Ardashir, the king of that land, finds himself smarting from an utterly unexpected defeat by this upstart Haftvad, he receives an anonymous tip from mysterious strangers saying only defeating Haftvad's worm can ensure victory. The king devises a secret plan to destroy the worm, feeding it molten lead. The city shakes with the dying throes of the giant worm, and Haftvad loses his advantage completely. The ruined serpent in the chasm, named after this story, was said to enable the royal army of Conria to go wherever they wanted, whenever they wanted, and nothing could stop them. I wonder, who is the king that brought Conria's worm to its end? Lumine. Remember how I said that Aether and Lumine had a special connection back in part 1 of this series? One outside of being intergalactic twins traveling the cosmos together. Well, it seems the two could have a special ability connected to their names. That property of traveling as an almost inseparable pair through space, and the twins' individual personifications of light, Aether being a Greek god of light and Lumine meaning light in Latin, is pretty similar to an old theory in physics about what was called the luminiferous ether. To put it very simply, it was hypothesized that there was a substance called the luminiferous ether, which was responsible for carrying light itself across the universe. Something that could bring light to places shrouded in darkness. Of course, it was later proven that no such substance existed. But what if Lumine and Aether are such beings? What if they're really one entity? Two sides of the same thing. And that's why both twins are canon in the story. Perhaps together they have brought a brand new light to Teyvat. Narssizenkreuz. The name that the troubled genius of Fontaine's past was given after successfully leaving his perishable body behind and transcending to the level of something that he thought could have saved the entire world of Teyvat from destruction. I think it's an appropriate name because Rene's hubris and devastating intellect really did become a cross for him to bear in the end. You see, Narssizenkreuz means Narcissus cross in German, and although it could refer to the narcissus flower, it's far more likely that it's a callback to the flower's namesake, Narcissus, the character of Greek mythology who is the father of narcissism. A true narcissist, like Rene, is often aloof, self-important, inaccessible, and plagued with a grandiose god complex. A truly fitting description for the frighteningly intelligent child who thought he alone could devise a way to save the entire world, completely indifferent to the people he would have to hurt along the way, as though his sheer grandiosity meant he didn't have to consider them at all. Let's talk about Nibelung. If you've done Nahida's second story quest, you'll remember that the mysterious king of the dragon sovereigns was named Nibelung. And if you've heard of the story with the names Alberic or the Rhinedotters in it already, you know that the Dragon King being named Nibelung is a big deal. After all, that story is the Ring of the Nibelung, as I mentioned in part 1 of this series. He must be very important. So, who the heck is Nibelung? Well, in the drama, the Nibelung are a race of people who live underground, with the infamous Alberic being most notable of them. He is an oppressive king over them, and when he steals a special stash of gold that gives immense power to whoever owns it, the rest of the story revolves around everyone else trying to take this powerful gold that he fashioned into a magical ring from him, before he can use it to take over the world. The ring is continually called the Ring of Nibelung, and it is all that is on everyone's mind. Treacherous Nibelung, as Alberic is called afterwards, can use this golden ring to become invisible and change form, among other things. Throughout the story, he is constantly scheming against the gods to keep the ring and enact his plan, and when it's wrenched from him through trickery, he curses it so that all who come in contact with it will suffer misfortune anyway. With so little info on Tevat's Nibelung, it's hard to tell what aspects of this story may be relevant. But it's been hypothesized that the mysterious object Dainsleif had on him when he survived Conria's disaster could be the ring. Maybe Nibelung the dragon has more to do with Conria's business than we know right now. Paimon. Now, what's a good old analysis of Genshin's overarching lore without addressing Paimon? Remember that book of demons? The one that all the gods of Tevat can be found in? Paimon's in there too, and there is a lot to analyze. Before I get started, I'll say this. When Paimon tells everyone that she is simply Paimon, I'm inclined to think that is exactly what she means. And if that's so, that will be huge for her future story. Check this out. Paimon is described as a king among demons, is very loyal to the devil himself, sometimes described as most loyal. They possess a crown and a beautiful face, although they are most often described as male. Paimon was said to be able to fly, to guide others to all manner of information, including all sorts of affairs about the world. They are able to guide people to the location of hidden treasures, and yet is of no use in actual battle. What's more, this Paimon is said to know past and future events, can grant powerful promotions to others, grant visions of the future, and reanimate the dead for a short time. Are you possibly hiding a few secret abilities there, Paimon? Rhinedottir. We're back to the Ring of Nibelung again. Remember the ring that everyone's fighting over? Well, Alberic stole the gold that made it from 3 sisters together known as the Rhinedotters. It was their collective duty to guard this gold from those who would use its power to take over the world. But they failed when Alberic completely renounced love, which was the key to being able to take it from them. They are a mysterious set who seem to have no origin, and by the end of the story, everyone is invested in getting the gold back to them, because that is the only way to lift the devastating curse on it that is affecting everyone. Is the abyss that Rhinedottir, aka Gold, was tinkering with, and that Nibelung the dragon brought with him to Tevat, and that Clothar Alberic formed into an order of deadly warriors, possibly the gold from this story? All these entities who decided to flirt with the abyss have been actively cursed by it. It sounds a lot like that cursed gold of the Rhinedotters. We know from Parenherry that Rhinedottir is insanely old. She could actually be the true origin of everything that has to do with the Abyss? I wonder what you think. Now, let's talk about Wriothesley. The charismatic Duke of the Fortress of Meripede has some very cool callbacks to that Book of Demons, like the Archons and Ancient Gods of Teyvat. Seeing as we don't know who Wriothesley's birth parents are, he may very well have some lore-heavy backstory we don't know yet. His constellation in particular is very interesting. Wriothesley's constellation name, Cerberus, pertains to the Greek god of the underworld, the three-headed dog who guards the gate. Kind of a good match for the warden of the prison of Fontaine. But the Latin form of the name is Niberius, who is in the Ars Gotia book. They are considered to be exactly the same demon, just using different names depending on the culture. According to the book, Niberius is known as a Marquis of Hell, a position very close to a duke. He was said to be valiant, eloquent, charismatic, and kind. He taught others how to live graciously and restored lost dignity or honor to them, and was known to be cunning as well, especially in getting others to do things. So wait, am I describing Niberius or Wriothesley here? Because Wriothesley embodies all of these things almost one-to-one. So far, the only people in the game with names in the Ars Gotia are deities or suspected ones like Paimon. So why does Wriothesley have a name in there too? Last but not least, Albedo says that the event that prompted Rhinedottir to send Albedo away with instructions to go to Mondstadt was their discovery of the heart of Niberius. What in the world does this all mean? I would so love to hear your thoughts on all this. I hope you all had as much fun learning about the diverse inspirations of Hoyoverse's characters and the clues they leave for us about the lore as I had researching them. Now, I've made it a habit to check the origin behind people's names, especially in world quests, whenever I can. Please give this video a like and share it with a friend if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe for more. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.